Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? It's Thursday, January 29th, 2026, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Fulton County Georgia lawmakers call the FBI's search of a local election center an intimidation tactic. We'll talk with Fulton County's commission chairman on the show. The Haitian Temporary Protected Status will end on February 3rd. The executive director of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration will talk about the implications for Haitian communities. The Huntsville, Alabama Police Department is investigating an officer's excessive use of force during the arrest of a black man caught on video. And the white cop, the former white cop who wrongfully murdered Sonya Massey, has received his sentence 20 years in prison. We'll talk from the family and the attorney, Ben Crump. Plus, House Democratic leader Haitian Jeffries critiques the Trump administration for being out of control while Republicans are neglecting hardworking American taxpayers. And our Black Star Network Marketplace will be joined by a supermodel and beauty industry innovator team as they team up to create a skincare line to make any skincare glow. That's right. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin.
One day after Donald Trump's FBI raided the Fulton County Election Center, lawmakers there are speaking out against this. The FBI conducted a search at the main election facility in Fulton County, which includes the state capital of Atlanta, seeking records related to the 2020 election. During the search, ballot boxes were seized. Joining us right now is Rob Pitts, chair of the Fulton County Commission. Glad to have him on the show. Commissioner, how you doing? All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All right, so let's get right into it. What the heck happened here? Here we are 6 years later, and Donald Trump is still fixated on Fulton County in 2020.
It's unbelievable. I've been fighting the president and his cohorts since 2020. You'll recall, I told him back in 2020 when he was disputing our elections, accusing us of all kinds of things, that our elections were not fair, which nothing could be further from the truth. But I took it very personally because I was there. I knew what happened in State Farm Arena that night because I set up that operation for us. But I told him and then Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and then Representative Matt Gaetz from Florida to stay the hell out of Fulton County. We know what we're doing. We know that our elections were fair. We know that they were open, and we know that they're transparent, and that every legal vote that was cast was in fact counted.
Well, and that's been certified by the county, by the state, and we're talking about in Georgia Republicans. And so Donald Trump is basically saying, and here's the other thing that I keep fixating on. So what Donald Trump is saying is, so for every Republican who ran, the races were fine. Every Democrat who ran, their races were fine. So everybody who was elected all across Georgia and all across America and everybody was on a ballot in Fulton County, whether it was county folk, DA, judges, water district, you name it. Everybody else races were fine.
Left out dog catcher.
Except his.
It makes no sense. I mean, that's what I've been saying. What are they looking for? The 2020 elections are over with. The votes have been counted. They have been counted and counted and counted. They've been audited. They've been reviewed. They've been looked at from top to bottom. They've even been hand counted several times. And the findings are always the same. We get an A+ for the way we conducted that 2020 election. And in fact, we've had 17 elections since then. Every election, high marks. So I'm satisfied, and I can assure all of the voters in Fulton County, Georgia, all of your listeners, that elections in Fulton County under my watch have been fair and will continue to be fair. There's absolutely nothing to worry about. Now, what's so concerning, though, about what happened yesterday, what I'm told is typically we should have received some notice from the FBI that they were coming and what they would be looking for. That did not happen. I'm here in my office about to have lunch, get a call from our elections people that the FBI is here. So I grab our county attorney. We rush down to there, first and foremost, to make sure that our employees were safe. But second of all, to make sure that we would comply with whatever the FBI was looking for, which we did. And what they did, Roland, they confiscated some 700 boxes of presumably ballots and other things related to the 2020 election, loaded them up in their FBI vans and took them to God knows where. We don't know where the ballots are. We don't know who has the ballots. We have no idea what they're doing with the ballots. What I do know is that while they were in the custody of my custody, our clerk of court's custody, they were safe and secure, and we could guarantee that. Once they left Fulton County Election Center last night around 10 o'clock, we have no control and cannot be held responsible for anything. Now, what I'm concerned about, since we're not there, since we don't know where they are, we don't know who has them, what are they going to do with them once they open the boxes up? Do they put more ballots in? Do they find 11,700, whatever that number is that they've been looking for? That's what's of concern to me. But more importantly, since this was so strange and so unusual from a legal point of view, the way this happened, I think this was is just a distraction. And what I'm really concerned about is this a move to try to take over elections in Fulton County in preparation for 2026 elections and 2028 elections? That's
I absolutely think that is what's going on here. And not only that, what the hell? So you have the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, this was Reuters sent this photo of her. Like, what the hell is she doing there? She is literally America's top spy, head of the Director of National Intelligence. What the hell is she doing there?
That was my question. When I heard that she was coming, I said, this is crazy. What is she doing here? Makes no sense. So there's a bigger issue than this. This was just a distraction. And so I'm saying, stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, but rest assured, we're on top of it. We're going to fight this with everything that we have. We've gotten calls from lawyers from Florida to California volunteering their services to help us fight this because they can see through it as easily as I can. Something is up.
And obviously, you already had Republicans in the state who you had to deal with passing rules where they essentially want to be able to take over the Fulton County Elections Board. Republicans have been doing this, trying to, frankly, rig the rules so they are in control of local elections as if, and again, what's crazy is that they throw these allegations out. Look at all these other races. There's so many other races go on, and no one alleges voter fraud, but only when it comes to Donald Trump.
That's correct. So what's up? What's up? Tell me.
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. To your point about them collecting these boxes, yeah, you now don't have any control over it. So when it came to whatever they were taking, did y'all make copies? Do y'all have a backup? Anything along those lines to protect yourself?
Great point. We didn't have an opportunity to do so. Typically, I'm told we should have been allowed to make copies of everything that they took, or they could have made copies and given them to us. Nothing happened. Neither of those two things happened. So they're gone. We have no copies. Don't even know what they took, other than we know that they took 700 boxes that contain information related to the 2020 elections.
Real quick here, I got my panel here that want to ask, give them a chance to ask you a question. First and foremost, Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show, Sirius XM Radio. Reese, go.
Thank you for being here. My question is, did they take anything related to the 2024 election when Donald Trump actually won Georgia, reportedly won, or was this just limited to 2020?
Only the 2020 elections, as I understand it. And see, I was not even allowed in there as chairman of the commission, but our Secretary of Superior Court, she was allowed in, and one other person to observe what they were doing. But again, typically we should have been allowed to take photos or copies of everything that they were taking out, or they could have made copies so that we would know exactly what they took and really why they were taking what they took and what they were doing with them. And where are they? I have no idea as I talk to you this evening. It's a scary, scary, scary situation.
Sorry about that. Dr. Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies, Howard University. Greg, go ahead.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Brother Pitts. As I'm sure the lawyers have been calling, telling you, I mean, this authorization under the 1960 Civil Rights Act or the National Voter Rights Act, a couple of things. Is this really moot in terms of any attempt to change the 2020 election, particularly since I guess you all had the legal right to destroy those that information, those ballots, 22 months after the election, except for this judicial order you're under to preserve them. And even under the National Voter Registration Act, there's a 5-year statute of limitation. Are you concerned at all about any attempt to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia? I don't know how they got this federal magistrate to sign off on this in the first place. And is this really about attempting to sow doubt for 2026 and perhaps even 2028?
That's exactly what I think is going on. I've said before, a distraction is a term that I use, and something bigger and more sinister is at stake here. And I think what that can be would be taking over elections in Fulton County, running our elections as they see fit for 2026, but more importantly for 2028.
Okay, Roland, I just want a quick follow-up. There's no constitutional authority for that. I mean, they don't have a path to be able to do that. Do they, Brother Commissioner? I mean, there's no legal authority to take over a state election. Is there in the Constitution?
That's what I'm told. And we're following the advice of our, very, very good county attorney who is consulting with others who we want the best minds. We have the best minds supporting her and us in this instance.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Roland.
Dr. Nola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, for reporting out on this very ridiculous and bothersome situation. My question is, I know that you're doing things, like informing the public, coming on, Roland Martin Unfiltered tonight, but what can we do? Like, what will you suggest? Like, what are your top 3 things that you want the general public to know? Because I can tell you, they are going to say they found fraud. They're going to say that, right? Because Trump needs the 2020 election to go his way, even though countless courts have told him it didn't go his way. So he's going to make it go his way. So since we see this coming, what do you suggest? I'm not suggest, but what are your 3 main points that you want us to be out there talking about?
I think the people, not only in Fulton County, Georgia, but throughout the country, need to be vigilant, need to be aware of what's going on. Look what's happening in Minnesota. All of this stuff ties in together. I mean, we're into for some some very dark, deep, troubling times in this country. So we need to be vigilant. I mean, the rhetoric is one thing, but what we need to do is to get ready for the elections in 2026, the midterms, and carry that into 2028, because that's the power that we have. The vote is the power that we have. I mean, the rhetoric in the barbershop and the beauty shop is one thing, but we need to be serious, and we need to back candidates who are running for the right reasons and can win, not folk that we went to school with, not fraternity brothers or sorority sisters, but folk who are qualified and have the best interest of our community at heart. You must back and support and get out the vote and vote.
Well, I don't believe anything that comes out Trump administration, especially when it comes to voting. And so if they all of a sudden say, oh, we found the smoking gun, they are lying.
Absolutely.
Rob Pitts, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Also, folks, the ranking members, the Democrats on the House and the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, they sent a letter to Tulsi Gabbard demanding to know why the hell was she there. They say in the year since your confirmation as Director of National Intelligence, you have puzzlingly sought to dismantle elements of the intelligence community organized to identify, assess, and counter foreign threats to U.S. elections. This has included dismantling the Foreign Malign Influence Center, the product of bipartisan legislation in 2019, declassifying a range of classified materials associated with the 2016 presidential election in an apparent attempt to rewrite the well-established public record generated by the Special Counsel Investigation and the bipartisan Senate Select Committee on Intelligence Investigation, and paralyzing intelligence production on foreign plans and intentions towards future U.S. elections. In parallel, the Attorney General and Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation have dissolved the Foreign Influence Task Force, which was established under President Trump's first term. That, of course, that letter was signed by, as I said, the ranking Democrats on the committee. On the House side, Jim Himes, and then on the Senate side, the Vice Chair, Mark Warner, and of course, they CC'd the Republicans, who are the House Chair and the Senate Chair, Rick Crawford and Senator Tom Cotton. All right, folks, going to go to break. We come back. We're going to talk about the temporary protection status for Haitians that is expiring on February 3rd. And so lots to talk about that. Lots more to cover as well right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Hey, I'm Malcolm Lee, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
Folks, the temporary protected status for Haitians expires on Tuesday. That's right, on Tuesday, and Haitians are fighting back. Trump, of course, is all behind this decision. The temporary protected status program for Haitian immigrants will end, as I said, on February 3rd at the orders of the Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Kristi Noem, even though the U.S. State Department still lists Haiti under a level 4 do not travel advisory. According to the Trump Department of State, the travel advisory is due to kidnapping, crime, terrorist activity, and limited health care. Nana Jumfi, the executive director of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, joins us right now. Nana, glad to have you back on the show. So walk us through this. What does this mean? What's going to happen to those Haitians who are in this country beginning on February 3rd?
So what is going to happen is they're going to have their temporary status or protective status taken away from them. And we're not talking about people that just got here yesterday. The temporary protective status for Haitians started in 2010 with the earthquake that was so massive and killed so many people that we all remember. And we've had people that have continued to be in temporary protective status since that time, not just because people forgot, but because the government of this country over and over again has looked at what is happening in Haiti, has looked at the conditions that people would have to return to, and has said no, that the conditions in Haiti are such that the people should not be forced to return. What we have happening now with this administration is, of course, with their focus on their anti-Blackness when it comes to immigration and their particular hatred for Haitians, is that they tried to stop it early. So it was supposed to end in February of this year, and they tried to stop it in August. The lawsuits were filed, the courts ruled against them, but instead of renewing, which they absolutely should, because the conditions in Haiti have gotten worse, not better, they have decided, this regime, that they're not going to renew it, that they're not going to extend it. And so, but between February 3rd and March 3rd, those that are under protective status that are Haitian either have to leave, find a way to adjust their status, or they're suddenly going to become undocumented people with all that means after so many years in this country.
This here is a summary from the federalregister.gov. And it says right here, after reviewing country conditions and consulting with appropriate U.S. government agencies, the secretary, this is ICE Barbie Kristi Noem, determined that Haiti no longer meets the conditions for the designation for temporary protected status. And it says the secretary, therefore, is newly terminating the temporary protected status designation of Haiti as required by statute. So does that mean that and it says right here, the time right here, it says right here, the designation is terminated effective at 11:59 p.m. local time on February 3rd. Does that mean that, let's say the next day, February 4th, that ICE can literally pick up, grab Haitians and begin to deport them?
That is what they will do. I mean, people do have the capacity to try to adjust their status. Some are in the process of doing that now. Some, because it's so difficult to adjust your status, like it's so restrictive, are not going to be able to do that. And yes, we expect that this regime will send out the body snatchers. We know that there are certain parts of this country where they are great concentrations of Haitians. They're all over the country, but particularly Miami, right? In Florida, areas in New York City and New York, in Boston, right? So we know that there are certain places where we have higher concentrations, and we can expect that in those places, the body snatchers, which include ICE, federal agents, and the mass mercenaries, are going to be hitting Haitian neighborhoods and are going to be grabbing folks, regardless of their status, actually, in using this ending of temporary protected status as the excuse. It's very disturbing.
This is from a media outlet in Ohio. First of all, it says some 330,000 Haitians live in the United States. About 30,000 here live in Ohio. And it says, and then, of course, 12,000 to 15,000 live in Springfield. This individual with the Haitian Support Center in Springfield said folks there are fearful. They came here just to work and send their kids to school and be here peacefully. All of a sudden, they find themselves in another scenario where they're not accepted. They are panicked, and the worst thing is that they can't even plan their lives for 3 months down the road. And so also it says that if they have a pending asylum application, they have the right to apply for work authorization and to not be removed while they're waiting for the application to be pending.
That latter part is true, but we just have to remember that this regime doesn't care. I mean, yes, we're talking about what the rules are, right, Martin? But we already know, Roland, we already know that is not how this regime operates. And so with Baji, there's a couple of things that we're looking at. Number one is to make sure that people are clear about what their rights are, about what they may be able to do to adjust. And of course, if they're putting in asylum claims or other ways to adjust, wonderful. We also understand, though, that we need some permanent solutions. And, there are people that are throwing down in the courts, which is fabulous, and we'll see how that goes. There are people that are begging the administration and doing sign-on letters to, dear President Trump regime letters, and that's wonderful. And we know that there's some people that need to do that. Like, everyone's got to get in their lane. That, that's not a Baji thing, but I understand that that's the thing that some people, they're desperate and they're trying to make it happen. And then there's other folks, such as Baji, that are saying we really need permanent protections. If you recall, there was a lot of work done to get a permanent pathway for Liberians, the Liberian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act, which did produce a pathway for those Liberians who had temporary protective status and the deferred entry of departure, which allowed them to be able to get on a permanent protection stance. And we think that should happen for Haitians, that they too deserve a pathway. We think everyone deserves a pathway, but particularly with so many hundreds of thousands of Haitians whose lives hang in the balance, there should be something that Congress is doing, because we know the regime ain't going to do nothing.
I'm gonna go before I go to questions. Also from this particular piece here, and this is the issue: the temporary status ends February 3rd, and Governor Mike DeWine expects ICE to have a 30-day surge in Springfield on February 4th. That means that they are going to be hunting Haitians.
Absolutely. That is what they're going to be doing. I mean, they're already doing some of that now, even before the time period, right? They're already are going into Haitian neighborhoods. They already are going by Haitian restaurants. They already are making it clear that, hey, we coming. And so it's really going to be important that the same energy that people are expressing right now, and the same way that they're closing ranks and trying to protect folks in neighborhoods across this country, that same energy exists for the Haitians, right? Because we see how so much of these invasions that have started talking about Black people and targeting Black people, as they did in Minneapolis, right? They went there allegedly targeting Somalis for this fake story of fraud. But at the end of the day, who are we talking about with Minneapolis? Are we talking about Somalis anymore? Are we talking about Black immigrants anymore? No, we're not. And we don't want that to continue. We need to make sure that we, at least in terms of our community, keep lifting up that Black immigrants are the ones that are disproportionately targeted. We are the ones that are being disproportionately detained. And the story can't shift off of us when other people start to become harmed.
Questions from the panel. Greg, you first.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Sister Nana. It's good to see you again. We saw what the Ninth Circuit did yesterday by saying that Nome and these fools, what they did with the Venezuelans and the Haitians was illegal. Of course, it didn't help the Venezuelans. But any updates on, I guess, we're expecting a ruling any day now here in D.C. with the federal judge as it relates to TPS for the Haitians?
Yeah, people are hoping so. That is the prayer that people have right now. I'm serious when I say that people are in really desperate energy. You know, when you think about it, you've been living here, you have family here, you're working here, you have community here, you have a house, you have apartment, you know, all can just be gone just like that. All of a sudden, your whole life can become different. Your whole life can shift. And so people are really hopeful. Kudos to those organizations that have filed these lawsuits and are really working to try to use the courts as much as possible. But we also understand that that in itself is a process, right? We've seen this before. The last Trump administration legal action was able to stop things for the entire time of the administration. And when the Biden administration came in, we were able to keep people here. This time, we've seen that they've played it differently, right? They've learned from the last time they were in power. And so they're going to fast track it. If it's something that comes out in our favor, they're going to fast track it to try to get it to the Supreme Court, or at least get it to a place where they can get a ruling in their favor. Of course, we know that, so people are getting ready for that. The best way that we're going to be able to handle this is to prepare people to keep us safe as much as possible, while we really press on our congressional friends to say, hey, what can we do here to get this permanent protection that folks need? Looking up every 12 months, praying that your protective status continues, that you pay for, mind you. You pay for the application, and whether you get it or not, you still end up having to pay for it. They don't give you your money back. Doing that every 18 months is just ridiculous anyway. It's not a way to live. None of us that are talking right now would want to have to figure out, am I still going to be able to have my job, my house, everything that I have as my stability every 18 months, depending upon the whim of whoever's in the White House.
Yes, ma'am.
Tracy?
Thank you for being here. With this surge of terrorism that they're planning to inflict on the Haitian community, we know that we can't necessarily trust white nationalists to distinguish between different nationalities and ethnicities. But what I'm curious about is what we've seen this administration do in terms of what they call third party country deportations. Have you heard any reporting, or have you seen any data as to whether people this administration are trafficking from Haiti or actually getting the opportunity to go back to Haiti, or are they ending up in other countries, like kind of what they've been doing with migrants from other countries, sending them to Djibouti or South Sudan or other places?
So here's what's very interesting, and thank you so much for that question. First of all, this administration is not so much about the deportation as it is about the detention. I'm not saying they're not deporting people, but where the money is and where the cruelty and the terror is in the detention, right? This is where Geo Group, this is where Core Civic, this is where the billionaire friends of this regime are getting fat through the slave labor, through the money that they're getting from the federal government to be able to, replenish their pockets and put more money in and, make them richer than God. That's their goal. And they're using this detention to be able to do that. When they kick people out, then of course they're losing the number of people that they can actually get money off of. And they also lose the excitement. It's like when they're in the detention, it's almost like the Coliseum. Their bloodlust is not as satisfied as the deportations. But to your point, if folks cannot be returned to Haiti, then they are going to return them to any of these countries with which they have entered a third-party agreement. That hasn't started with Haitians en masse at this point, but if they have 300,000, even if they grab 10,000, they know that they're going to have some place to take folks, and that's going to happen under these agreements, right? And so it'll be interesting to see how that moves, but more interesting to see how we stop it.
Nola?
Thank you so much for all of the information that you just gave. I have an extreme fondness for Haiti, being from New Orleans, and even my last name, which is my last name that I actually don't tell people, which is French. I have a huge deep love for the Haitian community and the way that this country has treated Haitians throughout time. Even me remembering the Clinton administration, right? Turning boats around, not wanting Haitians here, and all the different times that this kind of beast has reared its head over and over and over. So my question I'm struggling to ask, why do folks still want to be here? I know that might be a horrible question and a rude question, but I'm just at the point where this regime is so destructive. We already know what the outcome is going to be. We already know that the Supreme Court gave Trump presidential powers over the travel ban. We already know what's coming. So I'm just like, at this point, y'all, I don't know, like, is there somewhere safer? Is there somewhere else? Because this is insane to me that the Haitian community has to go through this all the time. I'm sorry. I'm just at my wits.
No, look, I get it. I absolutely get it. And it's a question, that even I'm from Ghana originally, right? Born in the United States, parents from Ghana, and like a Toyota, I still claim my, made in Kansas. I still am Ghanaian. I mean, you got folks that are Black American. Oh, okay. But you got some folks that are Black American that are like, get me out of here, right? Let alone.
Yes, that's where I'm coming from.
But here's what we have to remember. Haiti's the way that Haiti is because, in large part, especially in this modern time, because of the United States, right? And so a lot of times the reason that people are here is because the US is there. The reason that people are in Europe is because Europe is in our countries, on the Caribbean, and in our countries and on the continent. So people are coming as a direct result of what is happening in our countries. And so when we look at migration, if we think of it as a human right and as a natural, like if people didn't migrate, there'd be nothing but Africans. We migrated around the world to make all these other people, okay? They would not be here if we did not migrate, right? And so that piece is important to remember. And we have a right to chase and to connect and reconnect with our relatives who are all the Black people of the diaspora. The earth is our turf. Wherever our Black people are, who we know have been displaced most forcibly, whether that was through enslavement or through conditions that pushed us out of our countries, we have a right to connect to that. We have a right to connect to our resources. These folks have dug out our resources, made themselves fat, rich, and happy, and then want us to stay where they have carved out of. No, we're coming here to reconnect with our resources. And we have a right to reconnect with our relics, right? We have a right to reconnect with what they've caught up in their museums, what they've taken and put in their universities, all of that comes from us. We have a right to do that. And so it's almost that migration in a way for Black people, wherever we go, is a form of reparations, whether we're going back to the continent, whether we are going to to Europe, to the Caribbean, to the East or the West, because we are the people that have given the resources, the culture, the everything to the rest of the world on a diasporic level. And therefore, wherever you are as a Black person, you deserve to be anywhere. If you want to be on the North Pole, Australia, wherever it is, the earth is our turf.
All right, then. Well, we appreciate it. And I will certainly pray for our Haitian brothers and sisters when that temporary protected status ends on Wednesday. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you.
All right, folks, got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. When we come back, we'll talk about the Sonya Massey case. The former cop who shot and killed her, he is going to prison for a very long time. Plus, we'll talk about a shooting that was captured on tape in Huntsville, Alabama as well. All of that on the Roland Martin Unfiltered. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. That's critically important. Your resources allow us to be able to do the work that we do. And so we appreciate all the work of people who have donated in the past. The goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year to support Roland Martin Unfiltered, support all of our shows on the network. Of course, our new show, our new daily show, The Breakdown with Brittany Noble, we launched today. Our health show, Second Opinion with Dr. Ebony Jade Hilton. We're going to be restreaming that right at the conclusion of my show as well. We've got a Balanced Living with Reverend Dr. Jackie Hood Martin. And y'all keep sending y'all comments. Greg is here.
I'm here.
They keep saying, man, I told them, I said, there going to be new episodes of the Black Table. I told y'all.
Soon. Yes. Carol's on me.
All right, so we're gonna have new episodes of the Black Table, and then of course the other side of change with Bria Baker and Jameer Burley as well, our millennial host. So all of this, folks, the resources that we spend go to fund all of this, and so your support is critically important. Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. You can also use that for credit cards as well. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all. Welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violence stream, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America.
They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory. Attack woke, DEI.
MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
What's up? It's your girl, Tamika D. Mallory, and you are watching the Black Star Network.
Folks, in Alabama, the Huntsville Police Department is investigating an officer's use of force during an arrest captured on a video last week. January 21st video was shot by a bystander. It captured the arrest of 37-year-old London Harkey. According to the police report, an unnamed HPD officer attempted to pull Harkey, a father of five, over late Wednesday night. After a brief pursuit during which Harkey lost control of the vehicle and crashed, the officer tased Harkey and body slammed him onto the pavement, though he was unarmed and posed no threat. Here is the 42-second video of what took place after Harkey was on the ground with the cop on top of him. Just a warning, this video is quite disturbing.
In the middle of the street, I got a car coming towards me. Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
What the fuck?
Hand behind your back.
Oh shit.
Put your hand behind your back.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh my god. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Folks, Harkey said additional officers pepper sprayed him while covering his face, restricting his breathing. He passed out in the back of a police cruiser and later regained consciousness at a hospital. Here's what his face looks like after the beating. Harkey has retained National Civil Rights Attorney Harry Daniels, along with attorneys Roderick Van Daniel and Gerald Griggs. We'll certainly keep an eye on this case. Folks, one of the stories that we have been looking at is that of Sean Grayson, the former white deputy sheriff in Illinois, who shot and killed Sonya Massey. This, of course, was a tremendous story. It went all across the country. And one of the things that it also did, and we're going to be talking with a Massey family member and attorney Ben Crump shortly. One of the things that this story also did, this case did, it also led to the change of laws there in Illinois. And that's something that often is not talked about. We saw this with the Breonna Taylor killing in Louisville, Kentucky as well. And when Ben Crump and I, we've had those conversations, and we'll talk about it when we get him on. We're pulling him up very soon. He talked about how it can't just be financial settlements. It's also how do you make changes to the law as well? And so I'm going to go to my panel on that. And I'll start with you, Greg. That's critically important because, a lot of people out there, it's amazing. I see these people who are critical of Crump, who are critical of Harry Daniels and others. I mean, all these guys doing is just making money off these cases. Well, first of all, they can't prosecute cases. They're defense attorneys. Their job is to represent the interests of the family. And they can't force a DA to bring a case. And so their job is to raise the attention and the consciousness to actually get some justice. And then they can pursue civil trials as well, or a civil suit. And you typically see those settlements. But the thing that I think is important is when you look at a lot of these cases, how they are impacting procedures, impacting city laws, state laws in these different shootings. And that has been a strategy that these lawyers have been taking, saying we don't just want to deliver a financial settlement to the family. We want to make sure that this doesn't happen to a future family.
That's right, Roland. And how many times, countless times, and we'll say it countless more times, will we say this? We have to use every tool in our toolbox, the ballot, the protests, the boycotts, which is becoming increasingly clear, is probably going to be the most effective strategy, particularly as we look at a world that is working overtime to now evade the United States of America and cave the chest in on the U.S. economy. But, I'm reminded of something Malcolm X said in the wake of what happened in Birmingham in 1963. He said, when they were attacking black folk, Kennedy's sitting there with his hands behind his back. But then the minute black folks started getting even, they send in the troops. He said, and Malcolm said, there was no new law. That's important. 5 words. There was no new law. We're at a tipping point now. Bruce Springsteen is releasing songs, and people are in the streets. And the DA in Philadelphia, Larry Krasner, and the sheriff, Sister Bilal, as you reported and talked with, is like, if you come up here, we're going to arrest you. Krasner came out with another strong statement this week. Why am I bringing all that up? We're seeing cracks now. We're at a tipping point. This is a criminal enterprise. I agree with you, Nola. There should be some place that we can go. And they've been messing with Haiti so long that, they've tried to destroy Haiti, but Haitians are stronger than that. But as Sister Nana said, the whole earth is where we live. When Ben Crump goes to court, in civil court, he's looking for justice. Now that comes out of our pockets. We're taxpayers. But at the same time, there is no new law needed once the politics changes. While we fight for changes, certainly legislation, but the enforcement of the law on the books may be enough. These federal judges are involved in a war. They're in a war with the MAGA 6, with the white national Supreme Court. At the lower levels, they're fighting a battle to uphold the law that's on the books. This pressure is starting to move this administration, not because they want to move, finally, but because a critical mass of people, it's approaching critical mass. So I agree, we should be trying to get new policies, more effective policies, but we should continue to fight to enforce the law as it is written, beginning with the federal Constitution. And we're beginning to see some movement on this, I think.
Reese, on this particular point, again, this work is critical because as a part of these settlement negotiations, that's when the families and the attorneys have the most leverage and influence to be able to enact change. You also utilize the public attention. That's what happened in Illinois when a state law was enacted related to this particular case.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to point out that this is something that happened at the state level in terms of the charges, because we do not have a federal government that is remotely interested in protecting citizens. People might recall, and you were there in the room, Roland, when Donald Trump was asked at NABJ about Sonya Massey. He didn't say, oh, the woman who was shot in the face by a cop. He said the woman with the water. That's what he said, as though she brought it upon herself when she was clearly murdered. And so this administration wants to see more Graysons not get the maximum sentence on an inadequate charge. The jury acquitted him of first-degree murder, and he was convicted of second-degree murder. Donald Trump wants more Graysons. He wants more of the people who killed Alex Preddy and who killed Renee Good and who are killing people all throughout this country. He just wants them to be able to get away with it and nobody noticed. And I think the tipping point is that people are noticing a lot more. They're noticing because it's not just Black people being gunned down. It's not just Black people being terrorized. It's not just immigrants who are being terrorized. But we cannot wait on anything to change hands in terms of the federal government. We cannot wait on a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate to get past the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act or whatever iteration, however many more Black people have become hashtags by the time they get their act together. We have to be putting pressure on our state and local governments. And that's what Ben Crump and Sonya Massey's family was able to do. That's what Breonna Taylor's family was able to do, and many other places. So this is where we have the most direct line of influence, where we can exert the most power and we can get the quickest changes to protect ourselves. We're always going to be vulnerable in this system, but at least we can make people think a little bit twice, and at least there could be some consequences.
Absolutely. Noah?
You know, instead of people talking shit about their tactics, they should really pay attention to the strategy, because this is important in terms of not just getting the W, you know, financially, but also making sure that there is some important outcome. And that is one of the things, to be honest with you, that is missing, you know, from a lot of what we want to see from our congressional members, from the CBC. I mean, that everyone I talk to wants to know, where are they? What's the strategy? So instead of, you know, just kind of using your Twitter fingers to talk crap about, you know, people who are out there trying something, right, and being effective, maybe we need to, you know, borrow from the Panthers and other organizing groups who came together and actually sat in rooms and actually came together and strategized and thought through things. And I think that's a piece of this that's missing. We're not doing that. And for me, honestly, the law, when I think about it, I have kind of like a love and hate tension between it. But historically, for Black people, not always, it's the one space where we get some level of humanity, which is so strange because the law was built to do the opposite, especially for Black people. But it seems to be the space where our humanity is justified, right? So again, you know, I just think that we should be focused on strategy and outcomes, because what we have ahead of us, y'all can pop off all you want to on social media and talk crap all you want to, but at the end of the day, it really is about boots on the ground and getting the work done. And there's a lot of work that needs to get done.
So I'll say this here before we go to a break, and we're still trying to reach Ben Crump and get him on. Anybody who, when we talk about policing, and if anybody is wasting their time yelling and screaming, what's the Congressional Black Caucus doing? That tells me they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. The changes when it comes to policing, police departments, and sheriffs, it's the state, the county, the city. The cop that shot and killed Sonya Massey wasn't a cop. He was a deputy sheriff. That's county. He wasn't with the city police department. He was a deputy sheriff. That's county. So when you're trying to change laws, you have to be changing state laws, county laws, city laws. So bitching about the Congressional Black Caucus in DC is stupid. Congress passes laws that impact federal law enforcement. Federal. Now, the laws they pass can also have an impact on cities and states, depending upon how you structure the funding. But that's the thing. And so with people out there who don't understand all these different things, that's why there were a lot of folk for a long time who were yelling police reform, and they were marching on DC. Then it hit them, wait a minute, if we start electing different DAs, then we can impact police reform or impact criminal justice reform, because the district attorney is at the heart of determining who gets charged and who doesn't. And so people need to understand, we always talk about this here, how do you connect the dots and understand the difference between who does stuff on the city level, the county level, state level, and the federal level. We come back, we're going to talk about the sentencing of the man who shot and killed Sonya Massey, and what the family had to say in today's news conference. You're watching Roller But Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
I'm Risa Colbert, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
$20 That's what a jury sentenced Sean Grayson to prison for the second-degree murder of Sonya Massey. She was shot and killed in 2024 after she had called 911 to report a possible intruder at her home in Springfield, Illinois. Well, the intruder happened to be a deputy sheriff. Judge Ryan Cadigan sentenced Grayson, a former Sangamon County Sheriff's deputy, to 20 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections, followed by 2 years of mandatory supervised release. He has the right to appeal his sentence. Sonya's family says they are grateful that the judge gave the maximum sentence, but 20 years simply is not enough because she will never, ever come back to life.
Jesus. I'm thankful for all the love and support that everybody has came out and shown, and I'm grateful that we got the maximum sentence that we could. 20 years is not enough, but like, they did what they could do.
And we serve an awesome God, because never in the history of these United States has a law enforcement officer been given this kind of sentence, a maximum sentence of 20 years. We don't think that's enough. And the law needs to be changed here in Illinois so that there's a greater value placed on second-degree murder here in the state. But right now, I'm just overwhelmed with joy. We prayed that this would happen, that he would get the maximum sentence. But we look forward to him being prosecuted federally for violation of Sonya's civil rights. I don't care about who's running this country right now, but I'm going to let you know that as her dad, I want him prosecuted federally too, so that when his sentence is up here in the state of Illinois, he can begin his federal sentence in the federal penitentiary.
I just want to thank everybody for the support, even the media. Thank you for letting everybody get our story out and for believing in us. And I want to thank the judge, and I'm so grateful to get the full extent of the sentence.
Folks, this, of course, is, I will say shocking, because when you think about when police officers, deputy sheriffs, and others have been sentenced in the past, it wasn't 20 years in prison. The officer in the Laquan McDonald case, I think that was 7, didn't serve all of his term. Derek Chauvin, of course, who murdered George Floyd. That's what, but thank goodness that this officer got the 20 years in prison. And no, the reality is it doesn't bring back their loved one. But it is important that future law enforcement realize act a fool, do something stupid in Illinois, do something what this man did with Sonya Massey, and you could be sitting your behind in a state prison for 2 decades.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, outcomes matter. And this is an important outcome. And no, 20 years is not a good exchange for the loss, for someone taking someone else's life. But 20 years is also substantial, right? Especially when we are talking about a situation that we see over and over and over on this show. And the clip that you showed earlier, Roland, with the beating of the young man, like that literally took my breath away. That was the first time that I saw it. And keeping that image in mind with this man sentenced to 20 years, like, that's profound. And that is something that Black folks in this country need to see and need to understand. It's strange to say it's a win. It's not a win because, like you said, she's not going to ever come back. But that is something that we need to see, that people being beaten and being killed, and we're just dying and being taken out of the country and detained, that our lives mean something, that 20 years means a precedent is set, right?
Reese, your reaction?
Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom. My reaction to what? To the sentencing?
Well, we don't have to know that.
Well, I couldn't think of a lie. Sorry. My bad.
I ain't mad. Let me get back to my potato chips.
Wait, what were we talking about? I'm sorry, y'all. Look, I'm gonna keep it real. What happened? What am I doing? I couldn't play it off. Sorry. What's up? What we talking about? The sentencing?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm happy that he got the maximum for the charge that he was convicted of. There's that, but it really did piss me off what he said about he acted unprofessionally. Like, unprofessional is when I go to Outback in my neighborhood and they got a bad attitude and they tell me it's going to take an hour wait, even though the restaurant is empty. That's unprofessional. Killing another human being, that's a way step beyond professional. So unfortunately, I don't think that it sunk in with him, the gravity of what he did to a human being. It maybe have sunk into him the gravity of what it did to his career, but I don't think it sunk into him the gravity of what it did to another human being. So hopefully, whatever portion of that 20 years he spends in jail, people will make it very, very clear the severity of what he did when he took away a human life.
Oh, he gon' know, Greg, when Jamal say what's up. He gonna know when he's greeted with the welcoming committee when he heads to prison. Greg?
I was muted.
There you go.
Muted. Okay, I'm here. Thank you, brother. 20 years, 200 years, 2 years, death penalty. To me, it's really less important when we look at the long arc of our struggle here. We were trafficked here. That makes the United States a perpetual crime scene. There will never be justice for our ancestors. The question of reparations is really about self-repair, as our friend Randall Robinson used to say, as he fought for reparations his whole adult life. But ultimately he said, no one can help you repair yourself. As you've talked about many times, and so many of us have talked about, Mamie Till keeping that casket open for her 14-year-old son, Emmett. Cecil Price, who with his Klan brothers killed Schwerner Goodman and Cheney. The Bryants, including Carolyn Bryant, who died without getting what she deserved for what she did to Emmett Lewis Till. Those names will be indelible in our history and in our memory. But ultimately, the Cecil Prices and the Carolyn Bryants and the other killers, the unnamed killers who go through history, they have not only shamed themselves and their descendants, they are completely and utterly erased from our common humanity. this circus clown, whether something happens to him in prison or not, joins Derek Chauvin and joins everyone else in the long line of people who can never receive just punishment for what they have done to us. The only thing we can do is learn from these moments and fortify ourselves so that we can prevent this from happening again. It's not going to happen in the short term. But the thing about white nationalism, the thing about white supremacy, the thing about these race soldiers is they will continue doing this until they are stopped. And when it overflows us and hits them, that's when you're going to see it stop. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. I agree with Reese. I agree with everything that's been said tonight. There is a sea change right now. Christy Nome, you're under the bus now. Steve Miller, you're under the bus now. But soon you will be going to jail if we do what we need to do. Tulsi Gabbard, they say DNI stands for do not invite. Of course they sent her to Georgia. Why? Because she ain't doing nothing else. They've already cut her throat. Y'all get out there and vote as much as you can. Get past the John Fettermans and the so-called conservative Democrats in the House. You put Benny Thompson as the chair of Homeland Security. Find out how quick the litany of record keeping that we have been told we must keep records. Ro Khanna has been saying this. Keep the records. He said, my granddaddy went to jail for 4 years and he fought the British Empire in India. This ain't no long, this is no short battle. And you keep the records. So when you get in power, what do you always say, Roland? The purpose of power is to use it. We switch these tables and you're going to see some justice to the degree that you can have some, but we got to do our part.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Time for Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble.
Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar announces her bid for Minnesota governor. She says she's running for governor amid the ongoing immigration crackdown. In the video released, she called for unity across all parties, billing herself as someone who could heal political divisions and willing to find a common ground. Her candidacy comes after the incumbent Governor Tim Walz announced that he will not seek re-election, which stems from criticism of his handling of a fraud scandal in the state. Klobuchar, a 4-term senator, reportedly delayed her announcement after federal agents fatally shot Alex Preddy just 2 weeks after they also killed U.S. citizen Renee Good. Newly surfaced legal testimony is raising new questions about the past conduct of Bill Cosby. In the newly obtained deposition tied to a civil lawsuit, Cosby admitted that he obtained prescriptions for a sedative in the 1970s with the intent of giving them to women before sexual encounters. The testimony is connected to a lawsuit from the accuser, Donna Motzinger, who alleges that Cosby drugged and raped her in 1972. Cosby's attorneys have previously argued no unsealed testimony shows he drugged anyone without their consent. And in Virginia, 9 Black women are suing a high-end steakhouse for $5 million. It all comes after a celebratory birthday dinner at Cork and Bull Chop House. The group says they were kicked out of the restaurant after a fight broke out between 2 other women who were not with them. The women say the experience left them very traumatized, with at least one seeking medical care for stress and avoiding dining out altogether. Their attorney says that they are demanding accountability, not just a payout, arguing the incident reflects how Black women are stereotyped as aggressive and disposable in public spaces. Also, new information on unemployment has been released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It shows that Black workers face persistently higher unemployment in 2025 compared to other racial groups. The report also links those disparities to federal hiring freezes, rollbacks of diversity and affirmative action policies, and the government shutdown that paused key labor data. By November, Black unemployment rose above 8%, the highest level since August of 2021. Also, a new study published by JAMA Network Open shows that discrimination shortens the lives in Black communities. Nearly half of the mortality gap between Black and white adults can be traced to the cumulative toll of a lifetime of stress and heightened inflammation. In the study, it shows chronic stress takes a biological toll that shortens lives. 58-year-old Shirley Raines, the mother of 6 and nonprofit founder who devoted her life to caring for people experiencing homelessness, has died. Through her organization, Beauty to the Streets, She became a familiar presence on Skid Row in Los Angeles, where people regularly lined up for her food, hygiene supplies, and beauty services. A 2025 survey found nearly 72,000 people were experiencing homelessness on any given night across Los Angeles County. Roland?
All right, folks, don't forget, tune in every noon Eastern to The Breakdown with Brittany Noble right here on the Black Star Network, giving you the latest news and headlines for our new midday show. We kick it off on Monday, and so check it out every single day. Also, beginning today, we launched Second Opinion with Dr. Ebony Jade Hilton, our weekly health show where we center African Americans. In this first episode, talking about flu outbreak, Black maternal health, some really important topics. You do not want to miss it. So we launched it today at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's going to air every Thursday, and we're going to restream it right after tonight's show. So you want to stick around for that. Again, Second Opinion with Dr. Ebony Jade Hilton right here on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, going to a break. We come back. More to talk about. And y'all know we got to get into some good stuff that will get you focused. We'll be talking about Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Talk about this out of control Congress and Republicans not doing their job. Jobless claims, guess what? They've gone up in the country. And of course, our Shop Black Star Network segment on the issue of beauty. All of that right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Hey, I'm Malcolm Lee, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage
as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches. I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? House Democratic leader Jeffries press conference, where he highlighted how the Trump administration is behaving in an out-of-control manner while Republicans are neglecting their duty to reduce costs to create an economy that benefits hard-working Americans. This is what he said.
1 year into the Trump administration, the situation here in America is a complete and total disaster. Donald Trump and Republicans have failed the American people in every possible way. The cost of living is completely and totally out of control. Housing costs out of control. Grocery costs out of control. Electricity bills out of control. Healthcare costs out of control. Child care costs out of control. America is way too expensive, and Donald Trump and the Republican Party has done nothing about it. Under Republican policies, costs haven't gone down. In America, costs have gone up, including for reasons that relate directly to Trump's tariffs, which have increased costs by thousands of dollars per year on everyday Americans. We have a broken healthcare system and a Republican healthcare crisis. Republicans have enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health clinics have closed because of toxic Republican policies in the One Big Ugly Bill. And Republicans in the Senate refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, which is going to skyrocket health care costs for tens of millions of Americans who will be unable to afford to go see a doctor when they need one. Donald Trump and Republicans promised to cut costs in America. Instead, the Republican Department of Homeland Security is cutting down American lives in cold blood. It's completely and totally unacceptable. Taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize everyday Americans or kill American citizens. But that's exactly what's happening right now in the United States of America, which is why dramatic change is needed with the Department of Homeland Security before any appropriations bill related to ICE or CBP proceeds. That's the Democratic position, because that's the position of the American people.
Well, speaking of that bill, I was just looking at a clip here, and they are. First of all, folks, let's get the audio straight. We are getting this echo here. But one of the things that I think is hilarious is that one, a deal apparently has been cut where they're going to move forward on a spending bill that will fund 5 different agencies through September, but there's going to be a 2-month extension on the DHS. A 2-week extension on the DHS budget to allow time for negotiations. What you're seeing here, Greg, they wanted to, of course, try to pass this budget to keep the government stop the government from shutting down. Democrats, after the shooting, the murder of Alex Preddy, all of a sudden realized, hey, DHS budget is a hot issue here. What do you make of this deal? Fine, we'll move forward funding for 5 agencies. We'll withhold DHS, and then we'll negotiate that later. That's what's going on as we speak. That's apparently that negotiation just took place, and so they probably going to be voting on. Give me 1 second. I was just looking at this here. I was looking at several posts. So they're probably going to be voting on this new funding deal tonight.
Yes, well, the MAGA Muppet, Mike Johnson's going to have to bring the House back. He did what he has been doing in his desperation, which is try to slow everything. But yeah, as you said, they've since we went on air, they've come up with a deal to pass 5 of the 6 remaining spending bills. I think they had 6 total, but 5. And and we heard Leader Jeffries yesterday, I want to say as they were saying, it's going to be hammered out. It's going to be hammered out. He said, yeah, but it's not going to be with any infinite time. There's going to be some time limits. And it looks like the time limit, at least as it's being reported, as you're talking about it, is 2 weeks to do DHS. I think it's important to understand that these last 2 killings, White Death, unfortunately, has a way of putting things where they need to be put. How many times have you talked about James Reeb or Viola Luiso or any of the number of white folks who lost their lives during the quote unquote civil rights movement? Right now, as we've been seeing last couple of days, Kristi Noem is trying to blame Stephen Miller. Miller has been exposed now. Bovino has basically been pushed out. Marble-mouthed Homan is up there mumbling and stumbling. But at the end of the day, what we're really seeing is a White House in disarray. It's clear that the chief of staff, Susie Wiles, doesn't like Stephen Miller and vice versa. And Ice Barbie's alleged boyfriend, Corey Lewandowski, who of course is Trump's friend, is another enemy of Susie Wiles. And so they're in disarray. But this White Death and this mass movement that's only going to get larger has backed them into a corner. And so as a result, Chuck Schumer, somebody dropped a spine off to him in Brooklyn, apparently over the last couple of days. And as a result, he, who is pretty feckless as a politician at this point, has the steel to say, no, we're not going to do this. If they had shut the government down, we know because of what they packed into that bullshit bill last year, that it wouldn't have really impacted ICE or Border Patrol because they have billions of dollars in there for just this kind of situation. However, finally, this is a moment when the Democrats look positioned to press the advantage. And if they get any kind of concession 2 weeks from now or in the next couple of weeks, it's going to feed the momentum. They don't need a John Fetterman. They don't need a blue dog Democrat. Some of those Republicans, like Susan Collins and others, are terrified because the people are moving against these fascists at this point. So I would take this as a victory and continue to press on.
The other thing here is when you talk about jobless numbers, that is really important, Reese, when you start looking at that. You're talking about 209,000, and the numbers don't look great. These folks are sitting here claiming, oh my God, the economy is just going to be booming in 2026, this golden era. Well, this right here, this chart tells you right here, look at that. It's down from December 6th, but when you talk about jobless claims, that's obviously way higher than what you saw take place during Biden-Harris. And, this is one of those things where, frankly, Democrats are going to have to learn how to properly message, because the data doesn't lie. When Republicans are in the White House, then you have deficits, you have recessions, Democrats, job growth. I don't understand how the numbers can be on your side and you lose the perception that Democrats are bad for the economy, Republicans are great.
Yeah, because they still talk about egg prices. Like, that's old news. People ain't got no fucking job. Okay, you can't get a new job. You can't leave your shitty job. You got to go back into the office. You can't sell your house. You can't buy a house. You can't afford shit. That's really what people are experiencing. But here we go, talking about egg prices. The reality, though, is that Donald Trump broke the economy. He inherited an economy similar to what he did. He inherited a strong Obama economy. He could have coasted more or less. You know, people would have been happy. The rich would have been happy with their tax cuts. And had he simply stuck to that, people would be in much better shape. But no, he came in here and took a freaking chainsaw to the economy and to the United States economic standing with his unhinged, erratic, and pointless tariffs. So he spooked the entire corporate community. They didn't want to invest in capital expenditures. They didn't want to invest in expanding their workforce. They had to buy a whole bunch of goods to avoid tariffs, and then they had to find other sourcing, and they had to eat the inflation from the tariffs. So there has been destructive policy on top of a destructive policy. And there was news today about how America is trying to sell natural gas to Europe, and there were almost no takers for American natural gas. And so that we can make socks great again in America and make t-shirts great again in America, the low value goods that he's trying to bring back in terms of manufacturing, as opposed to the chips and the other things, we're no longer able to sell higher value goods to the rest of the world because they're like, go to hell, America. Y'all are fucking crazy. We're going to make deals without you. There's a new world order. Canada has already declared that. And so there's really no end in sight to the carnage that Donald Trump has done to the economy. And as more of these big, ugly bill provisions go into play, it's going to get even worse. But at least we're not looking at another shutdown. I think that Democrats played this well. It is a gift to Republicans to kind of create any kind of distance. And you'll notice there were 8 people who voted with the Democrats on this. That's a large number, in particular when the topic is immigration, because they want to create distance between this Trump regime and the murders of American citizens and what they're trying to say that they want to do. And so this is a win-win situation. It's very rare that that happens in Congress. And it seems to be from some of the sentiments I'm seeing online that Democrats are getting credit for this. So, but unfortunately, things are not going to change in terms of the economy, not with Donald Trump at the helm.
Noah, to the point Reese just made, if you look at this story here it said Trump's trade policy blamed for U.S. gas auction flop in Eastern Europe. So not only has he been an idiot when it comes to tariffs in Europe, the constant trashing of European countries, folks who are allies, and they're like, you know what? We're good, dude. We're good. Y'all can keep y'all natural gas. And so soybeans not being bought, natural gas not being bought, all this sort of stuff. Other countries cut their own trade deals. Yeah, the so-called great businessman, that's for the idiots who believe that. Those of us remember how many countries he ran into bankruptcy. The man has flat out destroyed the economy. And then you've got yesterday, Scott Bassett. They were in that dear leader cabinet meeting, and he was like, "Oh, 2026, the economy is going to be booming." No.
No boo. This is a situation where national security, international security, and foreign policy converge. First and foremost, this is a national security crisis. Any way you look at it, we're talking about the Department of Homeland Security. We're talking about Americans being shot and murdered on the streets. We're also talking about national security as a justification to do this, also being threatened in terms of being able to use that as a device of legitimacy. Because when you say something is a national security threat, that's not something that you just kind of bandy about. That means something. And so not only is Trump damaging, not just the economic strength of the United States, our national security is also being threatened by this impulsive decision maker that we are stuck with. But one of the things that I did like what Leader Jeffries said is that he framed this as an urgent moment, that basically these are very unique in extreme times, therefore extreme responses are needed. So in that way, you know, they understand the assignment, right? And then the second part of this is Canada and China. I'm going to be talking a lot about this. Canada and China have partnered in terms of electric vehicles. Tons of news about it last week. Now, this is a market that the United States once cornered. But when you have the pairing and combination of Trump and Elon Musk, basically Curly and Larry, they just need Mo. I guess that would be Stephen Miller. They don't know what they are doing. Just because you sit around and you have a bunch of ideas and you think you're smarter than everybody else, but you have no plan, no strategy, nor did you actually talk to the folks from the outgoing administration about what they were doing and how to effectively do the thing. And then you fire all the people who know how to do the thing. So it is not a surprise to anyone that things are falling apart all over the place. But, you know, people are going to go to other countries and buy goods from them. And China right now, Trump is a gift to China. Because China, honey, is stepping into the void, the diplomatic void, the economic void, all the Trump voids. China, honey, they have stepped into it and like, hello, superpower right here, because the United States has abdicated all of it.
Yeah, but always winning, huh? Always winning. Is that what they said? That what they say? We're always winning? Yeah, I don't think so. And we're seeing how this economy is being completely wrecked as a result of the craziness. And it just really cracks me up when you look at these nutcases. Like I literally I just saw this here. You know, that idiot Monica Crowley, who used to be at Fox News, she tweeted this: President Trump won 2020 in a landslide. You're going to learn. I had to comment. I said, you know what? You are stupid. Like, you are stupid. These people, and this is why, Reese, I keep saying, it's dumb for Democrats to spend a significant level of energy trying to win over Trump voters. Most of these people are so crazy and out to lunch that it's just a waste of time. How about you spend your time building up your black base and going after the 90 million folks who did not vote versus trying to flip these people who think this man is the second coming of Jesus?
Right. I mean, first of all, fuck MAGA and everybody down with him. But, you know, whiteness is intoxicating and people want that white approval. That's why Democrats...
Why the moment you had to go there, I immediately started thinking about... I started thinking about the Tupac diss song. M bad boy, M as a label, M so and so. That I
fuck
can't
MAGA, fuck Stephen Miller, fuck JD.
I can't wait for Reese to drop her own hit 'em up style. Go ahead.
I should. Look, I'll go triple platinum on that. Hello. Fuck them people for real. Like, what are we doing? They're lost cause. However, like you said, there are 89 million motherfuckers who couldn't be bothered to vote for whatever reason. I mean, like it was a black woman, whatever. Maybe they was eating too high off the hog and they was feeling themselves. They thought they didn't have to vote, whatever. But like I was starting to say, whiteness is too intoxicating for Democrats. That's why every election they run these dumbass ads to try to get to the white women, because the white women are going to grow a conscience all of a sudden, and they're going to be a majority Democratic voter base, because they're so appalled by Donald Trump and his grab him by the pussy or whatever other situation else might be. And it's delusional. And that's what white supremacy is. It's delusional. And so once Democrats are willing to relinquish their intoxication with whiteness, then maybe we could all get somewhere. But until then, we're going to keep playing around the edges, trying to knock off a few of them or bring over a few of them, which, by the way, Republicans have written our black asses off for the most part. There are 40 million of us in a database marked as dissuasion. They had a little bit of success. Steve Bannon said they was going to try to get 15%, 20% of black men. So they have been doing a little bit with that, but they don't do it in terms of overtly courting black men. They do it with these red pill podcasts and Joe Rogan and others I won't name. Maybe I will name it. Stephen A. Smith. They use those folks to try to court the black male vote, despite not having policies that actually benefit our community. So yes, Democrats, get it together. Get it together. You are so afraid of scaring off the white voters that you have by overtly courting black voters or different demographics, that you're not doing enough to build that credibility with our voters and to build that energy. 2024 was a turnout-based election. It wasn't a conversion election. And that's what they went for. And that's why we lost. Now, you could say it was rigged. You could say they cheated, all that kind of stuff. We did not let it get out of cheating distance. And so when you don't vote high enough so that they can't cheat their way into the White House, then this is what you get.
I ain't got no motherfucker.
That's why I fucked your bitch, fat motherfucker. West side. You know who the realest is.
Hey, elbows up. Hey, first off, and the click you claim, West Side. We started like top on it. Elbows up.
They should have been playing that at Davos after Mark Carney finished, because that's exactly what he was saying. Lit them up. Hey, you see, Starmer just came back from China. China told the UK, your people can come here without a visa for up to a month. The EU has made a deal with China now on foreign investment. The United States, y'all, let's just be very clear. Headline: the United States finished. Now, all you descendants of slave Negroes that want to wrap your arms around your master, do yourself a favor. Since the snow days are here, just take a couple hours and surf the web for international news. Please understand, the Trump crime family now, they trying to put together a rogues gallery of people with this damn $1 billion a piece board a piece so they can go out here and build condos on the bones of the Palestinians. But guess what? That too is not going to work. And guess what? They invaded Venezuela. They got Maduro in jail in Brooklyn and his wife, but Delcy Rodriguez is still talking shit. And when you take over Venezuela, you take over Venezuela's debts. Guess who Venezuelan government owes? Let me think. Oh yeah, China. Please understand that the Chinese are sending support to Cuba through other places. Claudia Sheinbaum has been on the phone with Mark Carney for the last 3 weeks. They are getting in bed together. It's over. And as far as electric vehicles are concerned, the United States is toast. Like you said, Nola, the minute Mark Carney went and made a deal with the Chinese to let in those EVs, guess what? You know who's going to be screaming, can I get me a BYD? Everybody in the United States who understand that you can get a BYD for under $20,000 that's better than any EV that Elon Musk will ever build. The market is going to crush the United States of America. So you descendants of slaves who love your master so much, cling to him. The rest of us are going to look to the rest of the world while we got a little time. Because the Trump crime family are going to try to make their money and go on. But the United States is being hollowed out moment by moment. We ain't saying about India. Modi has told Lula da Silva in Brazil, why don't you come check me out in the next couple of weeks? This thing is over. All right. That's all right. Wait for it.
I'll tell you who I really love watching is Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. When these MAGA media reporters try to check him, and so he's always delivering Tupac style of responses.
But he got to pray first, though. He got to center himself.
So yeah, check this. Watch this one.
Mayor Johnson, since Sunday, I've had over 300,000 real Chicagoans reach out to me and express their anger that instead of plowing the streets, the first responsibility of the mayor of the city of Chicago, clean, safe streets, you are out protesting ICE. And they don't see that as being, a real responsible role for the mayor of the city of Chicago. Your rhetoric has been encouraging people to rise up and fight ICE. Many people say that is the cause of the violence, the real violence against federal agents and law enforcement. There's also a concern that in light of this report that Governor Walz in Minnesota, that people in his office are actually coordinating these violent anti-ICE protests.
Please ask the question.
Anyone? Yeah, I'm trying to ask the question.
Thank you.
Please, if you wouldn't mind not interrupting me while I'm asking my question.
Ask it. Thanks.
So the question is, people are wondering if anyone in your office is coordinating with these ICE protesters to coordinate protest and violence against federal law enforcement.
Well, first of all, let me again just commend the efforts and the work of the city employees that made sure that our streets were plowed and that we had warming centers available for individuals who were either unhoused or just need that type of assistance and support. In fact, again, we saw an accumulation of roughly 10 inches because of the lake effect. And so those hardworking men and women serve this city honorably. So no, as the mayor of the city of Chicago, I do not personally plow streets, but we do have hundreds of workers that ensure that that work is complete, and they did that. We were able to ensure that the people of the city of Chicago were able to get up on Monday morning. No one was stuck. No one had to be dug out. They were able to go to work, and children were able to go to school. As far as using my platform to speak out against an administration that's murdering people in the streets of America, that's well within my right and my authority in this moment. And quite frankly, any notion to suggest that somehow that peaceful protest and the petitioning of this government is somehow antithetical to who we are as a democracy, I will call into question how much that person actually loves this country. In fact, to not protest in this moment would be a derelict of duty, particularly at a time where we see the rise of tyranny and fascism that threatens the sensibility of our humanity. So of course I'm going to use my platform, as those who have come before me, to make sure that we have a democracy that works for all people. Working people are struggling right now in this moment, and they are afraid and they have a great deal of anxiety because of what this administration is doing, taking food assistance away from people, taking housing opportunities away from people. Healthcare costs continue to go up. So the protest, I believe, has to match the energy, quite frankly, that's coming from the White House. So yes, I'm going to continue to encourage people to rise up, lift their voices up against this authoritarian rule, because if we do not do that, all of us will be subject to the type of harm and cruelty that this administration wants to continue to spread against the hard-working people of this country.
First of all, that idiot is always asking the mayor this. This is when you know you lying. Didn't no 300,000 people reach out to you. So you trying to convince us that 300,000 Chicagoans reached out to your MAGA ass. In fact, in a previous clip we played, they just straight up clowned his ass. They were like, oh my God, 300,000 people reached out to you. Do you realize that what your ratings would be if that's actually the case? They clowned his ass. And so that's the kind of fools that the mayor has to deal with all the time. I mean, y'all, we literally just I'm telling you, MAGA folk are stupid. I mean, I listen, I've known Republicans and Democrats all my life. These people are a certain class of stupid. I mean, they are in a whole different level of stupid in terms of the stuff that just come out of their mouths. It just really just makes no sense whatsoever. So, Mayor Johnson, keep clapping back, keep letting them know. And I listen. I every time I see one of these news conferences of Mayor Brandon Johnson, I think back to that Richard Pryor skit when he was president, and having to respond to some of these fools. I don't know if y'all. Nah, I see Reese and Greg shaking their head. I don't think Nola would know what I'm talking about. Nola, you know what we're talking about? Have you seen any of of those clips, Nola?
Yes, I have, Roland.
Oh, I'm just checking. Because Black Card Patrol is on duty. Say it again, Greg.
What was that look on the mayor's face? Because you saw how Ilhan Omar was going to dot the eye that white boy. They put that vinegar on it. The only thing saved his ass was the white boy who grabbed him. Because I was in the camp in Somalia. I will ass. But what was that look on Brandon Johnson's?
I told you.
No, the look on the mayor's face was, "Here, this motherfucker." That's what that was. That's what that was. That's what that was. That was like, I'm about to cuss this fool out again. Let me go to a quick break. We're gonna come right back. Shop Black Star Network, our marketplace segment. So we'll be right back.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity. We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
All right, folks, what do you get when a beauty industry innovator teams up with a supermodel? Well, you received Glowissima, a skincare collection that celebrates the evolving beauty needs of women of color through clean and effective formulations. Dana Hill Robinson and Cynthia Bailey join us right now. Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, Martin, how are you?
What's happening? Glad to see both of y'all here. All right,
always good to see you.
How did this come together?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear?
I can't hear.
You can't hear me either?
All right.
I can hear you, but I can't hear Roland.
Cynthia, we can hear you. We can't hear Dana. Dana, I can hear you.
I cannot hear.
Cynthia, can you hear Dana?
I can hear everybody.
All right, so we got all of that.
Can't hear.
All right, so Keenan, work with Dana, and I'll talk to Cynthia. We'll figure it out. All right, Cynthia, how did this collab start? Where did it begin?
Okay, so Dana and I go back like 30 years. We knew each other in New York coming up. So we've been friends for a long time. So the friendship started long before the business started. And she is a beauty brand. I am a beauty brand. We've both been in this world for a long time in terms of our career and the things that we do. I was a model. She worked at Vogue, beauty editor, all of the things. And we always wanted to do something like this together. And it was all about timing. It was never the right time. And finally, last year, we finally made it happen.
And so y'all got together. Y'all said, all right, let's do this. And so who then began to do what? How did y'all begin to put this company together?
All right. So once Dana approached me about us doing Glowissima, I pretty much had to say, okay, I'm in. I've always wanted to do this, but I'm going to need you to do some of the heavy lifting. So that means like a lot of the grunt work. I mean, I hate to say it, but she kind of had to carry a lot of that stuff, all of the Zooms, our products, all of the ingredients come from New Zealand. It was like a long process, and we didn't want to just throw something out there because I'm on TV and because of her experience. We really wanted to make sure we came up with 2 products, and these are the 2 products that we have right here that actually really work. We tested these products for about 8 months before we popped out, and they work. And anyone, I can't wait to send you some, Roland, as a matter of fact. And here's the great news. Well, I don't know if it's great for Dana, but Dana has super sensitive skin. I do not. So everything would go past me because I don't really have sensitive skin. But Dana was like the true test of what really worked for pretty much everyone.
All right, that's cool. So what type of products and how many different products? Dana, can you now hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh,
okay.
There I am. I was
Perfect.
like,
all right.
what's going on? Hi.
All right, so we got you. All right, so
Yes.
how many different products and what type of products do y'all have?
So we have our ultimate Radiance Face Cream, which is a deeply nourishing cream that we pair with let me bring this up, the Miracle Elixir Face Oil. So depending on if you have super dry skin or maybe you have a more oily skin, then you can decide on, do you want to combine the 2 together, or do you want to use the cream on its own and then possibly layer the oil on? So it's great because we call this our dynamic duo. So depending on your skin type, it works for everybody. So if you have oily skin, you don't have to be afraid of even of the oil because it was formulated to really nourish your skin and feed your skin. So it's going to go deep into your skin without being greasy.
All right, cool. Now let's go to my panel. We only got questions. Let's start with Nola.
Oh my goodness. So first of all, thank you so much for talking about these products, especially right now when the skin is going through a lot, especially when you live in cold climates like we are here. So my question is, are you going to scale? Like what comes next? What can we look forward to?
Sure. So we are working on a cleanser, a serum, an eye cream, and an exfoliator. And also we're working on a body care line. So you can see some new things coming in 2027 or a little bit later this year.
Reese.
Thank you both for being here. Cynthia, I'm a huge fan of yours, of course.
Hi.
Thank
you.
So my question is, okay, so this is a moisturizer and an elixir.
Yes.
Do you guys have recommendations on how this can kind of integrate with other products? Have you had any partnerships, or are you just saving it for when you guys actually release your exfoliator and your skin cleansing products?
Right. Okay. So the beauty of our 2 products is the fact that they actually work well with other products that you already have. So it's not like, no one really uses just one one company. We are women. We use a lot of different things. And what I love about our cream and our elixir, it goes really well with whatever else works with you. And we made it easy. I was really determined. Well, I was really focused on keeping it simple to like introduce these products, because I felt like we needed the foundation before we put the house on it. And I knew once we had everyone sold on these two products, then they would be excited to try the new products that we plan on introducing.
Greg.
Thank you, Roland. Thank you, sisters. Sister Betty, I think your daughter Noelle, her first year at Howard, took freshman seminar with us. Memory serves me correctly. So yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell her hello from Dr. Carr. But
I will.
Absolutely. I wanna ask you about the question of dark spots and hyperpigmentation.
Yes.
I know there's
Yes.
How do these products work in that way? And I'm asking out of ignorance, because I'm thinking about how people talk about skin bleaching and all that, but I know this is not that. So could you explain what hyperpigmentation is?
All right. I'm gonna say a little bit, and then I'm gonna let Dana jump in. So we can't say that our moisturizer basically eliminates that, but I will say from using it and from all of our friends and family and customers that have tried it, it actually does fade dark spots. It really does, but we can't say that it does, but it actually does. And we have all these amazing ingredients inside of our products, like Manuka honey, kiwi oil, sea buckthorn oil, like all these different amazing oils in here that work when it comes to hyperpigmentation. And Dana, you can jump in, because I know you have a lot to say about this part.
So when we were formulating the products, we wanted to create a very effective cream and oil that was going to help with the hyperpigmentation, but in a gentle way. So we chose botanicals with high vitamin C properties, such as a kiwi seed oil, the kakadu plum, the sea buckthorn oil, and all of these. There's desert lime, finger lime, and these are all natural botanicals that are high in vitamin C, and they work together synergistically to help brighten your skin and get rid of hyperpigmentation. And one of the ways I tested it, I have a cat who's constantly scratching me, and I have all these get all these little scratches. So one of the ingredients, sea buckthorn oil, is if you put that on any kind of a scratch or a burn, it heals it up really quickly, and it doesn't leave a scar. So I knew I wanted that to be one of the key ingredients, and we have them in both of the products. So again, we're not going to say, oh, we're bleaching your skin, but it helps to fade hyperpigmentation and just gives you that glow. Gives you that glow, like you can see.
Well, that's why it's called Glow East.
And guys, also too, it really feeds your skin. I just turned 60 years old.
Yes.
And I've been using the products for about 1.5 years, and you can see, like, it works. It works. Not only that, it helps with fine lines, and it helps to firm your skin. And it's all done with natural botanicals. So you're not going to find any harsh ingredients. I have super sensitive skin, and it's very, very effective.
And can I just say this really quick too?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't know how much time we have, but I wanted to make sure I threw out that this is definitely not just for women.
No.
This is for women, men, and with all of the natural ingredients that we have, is actually great on kids and even babies. Like, it really is. So this is for everyone.
And it's great too if you have eczema. Cynthia can speak on that, because Noelle.
My daughter Noelle has eczema, and the oil has been amazing for her. It really, really has. Like, I use this. I don't travel without these two products at this point. I just actually, because of the dry weather, I just actually put some of the oil on my hands before I actually got on here. And I know a lot of people think that oil is not our friend when it comes to facial products, but it is. It is. We actually, no matter if you have dry skin or oily skin, your skin actually still needs oil. So this is a great duo, you basically put the moisturizer on, and then you kind of seal it in with the oil. I am busy, so I just mix it up all together, and keep it moving. But I know that Dana actually uses the moisturizer first, and then she pats it in and seals the oil in.
All right then, folks, check out Gloisima. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. If you go to the website, you can purchase the products there. You can see all the products right there on the website. And so please support these Black-owned companies. Normally, I actually have the products with me, but because of the snow and the ice and the dangerous conditions in D.C., we're totally virtual this week to keep our whole staff safe. And so we'll, of course, have those products on our table there in our studio where we have all the products from the Shop Black Star Network. So let me thank Dana and Cynthia for being on the show, and we appreciate it. Good luck with the company.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Roland, you have to try this oil on your beard.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll try that. Well, look, I spent a lot of time in the sun playing golf, so my golf tan has disappeared. You might see
this oil
some right there. You might see some right there where my hat normally pull down.
Yep.
So definitely when it warms back up and we can get back on the course, I definitely got to be using some of that. So
yes,
we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Let me thank Reese, Nola, and Greg for being on today's show. Appreciate it as well. Thank you so very much. Folks, don't forget, coming up right after the show, as soon as we get done, we're going to be streaming, of course, Second Opinion with Dr. Ebony J. Hilton. Some great information. It's our weekly new health show we launched, and trust me, I think you're going to really enjoy it. So that's coming up next. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your resources are critically important to our work. If you want to contribute via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. It's also for credit cards as well. You see right here on the screen. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 2003 7-0196. You also, of course, download the Black Star Network app. First of all, I'm sorry, PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Folks on the YouTube chat, please hit the like button, y'all. Let's get those likes up as high as we can. Let's also download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV. You can also, of course, get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag by going to shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com. You can get our hats and T-shirts and hoodies and all that good stuff. And don't forget, for products like Gloisima and the other Black-owned products we have, you can also go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Lastly, be sure to download the app fan base. Be sure to get the app fan base, and so we can check that out. And again, folks, don't forget, every Monday, noon Eastern, you can check out, let's see here. Why am I not? Oh, here we go. Every Monday, noon Eastern, you can check out Brittany Noble's show, The Breakdown with Brittany Noble. Not sure why we're not showing up yet. Let's see. There we go. The Breakdown with Brittany Noble. You can check that out every Monday, noon Eastern. And then, of course, every Thursday, Second Opinion with Dr. Ebony J. Hilton. And you can actually see the first episode coming up right now. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla!